Good afternoon, friends. Myself, Sainath Lambade. Today, we are going to continue the chapter Control and Coordination. In last lecture, we have discussed about the generalized structure of the neuron. As we have not drawn the diagram of the neuron in the last lecture. As you know that neuron is covered by a covering that is called as a neurilemma. That is called as a neurilemma, and this neurilemma has been divided into two types. We have seen that the neurilemma has been divided into two types. That is a cyton. This is body is called of neuron is called as a cyton, and this extension is called as a axon. This extension is called as a axon, and another extension, the smaller thin extension, that are called as a dendron or dendrites. They are called as a dendron or dendrites. So in the cyton, what is present? We have to know that in the neuron's body, the cyton, the centrally placed nucleus, there is a centrally placed nucleus. Then what is present inside again, and there is also presence of cytoplasm, that is called as a neuroplasm. Whatever the cytoplasm which is inside the neuron, so it is called as a neuroplasm. But this cytoplasm is having the presence of granular type. How it is? Granular type, that is called as a Nissel's granule. That is called as a Nissel's granule. They are in conical shaped. They are in conical shaped, and these Nissel granules are having the presence of RNA proteins. They are having rich in RNA proteins, and these proteins will produce enzymes, that is called as a neurotransmitter. That is called as a neurotransmitter. And again, whatever the cell organelles which are mainly present in the neuron's body, that are the nucleus. First we have seen that nucleus is centrally placed. Again, there is also having the presence of mitochondria. Then again, the presence of RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum. Again, there is having the presence of Golgi complex. There is having the presence of Golgi complex. All these cell organelles are present in the cyton, neurons cyton. That is present in the neurons cyton part. This rounded part is called as a cyton. This is an extension of neuron. These two are the extensions. Which are the two extensions of neurilemma? That is a dendron, and another one is the axon. This is a axon. This axon is also having the same cytoplasm, but there is having the some absence of some that organelles. That is there is also absence of Nissel's granules, and also absence of Golgi complex in the cytoplasm of axon. What the cytoplasm of axon is called as that is called as exoplasm. That is called as a exoplasm. And whatever the covering of this axon, that is called as a exolemma. That is called as a exolemma. On this axon's membrane, there is having the presence of some kind of a cells that are called as a Schwann cells. Which cells are present? Schwann cells are present, and these Schwann cells do the production of or produce the myelin sheath. They wrap the whole covering to the axon by that producing myelin sheath, by producing the myelin sheath. This myelin sheath is produced by the Schwann cells. But you have to keep in mind that these axons, which are mainly present in the PNS, peripheral nervous system, their production of myelin sheath is carried out by the Schwann cells. But in which neurons? Thus, those neuron which are present in the central nervous system. In that type of a neuron, there is a secretion of myelin sheath carried out by the oligodendrocytes, that is production by the oligodendrocytes, and this is the last end point of this neuron, that are known as the teledendrons, that is called as a teledendron, and these teledendrons are having a vesicle type. These vesicles are filled with a neurotransmitter, that is filled with a neurotransmitter. So we'll see that neuroglial cells, we have seen about the neuron as well as neuroglial cells, but I have taken some short preview for you to keep in mind which how many types of neuroglial cells are there. Neuroglial cells are one, but they have distribution in their functions. They have the distribution in their function. So first of all, those neuroglial cells which are coming into the CNS, they are coming into the CNS, that is the central nervous system. Central nervous system, first we have written about the oligodendrocytes. This is a oligodendrocytes, and this oligodendrocyte produce a myelin sheath in the CNS. This produce a myelin sheath in a CNS. Again, this is a microglial or macrophages. This derived from the monocyte. This is derived from monocyte and engulf the foreign particles or engulf the whatever the dead neurons or cell debris are carried out by these macrophages or microglial. Then another astrocytes. These astrocytes are present on the side of the blood capillaries. Those blood capillaries which are going to supply the blood to the neurons, they are surrounded to these capillaries, these astrocytes. They are also called as a blood barrier. They are also known as a blood barrier. Then last one is the ependymal cell. This ependymal cells produce a CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. This produce a cerebrospinal fluid. This ependymal cells lines the whatever the empty space or ventricles which are mainly present in the brain. Again, last, this is a peripheral nervous system. In peripheral nervous system, two types of neuroglial cells, that is the Schwann cells which produce the myelin sheath, and another one is the satellite cells which supports to the function of the neuron. These satellite cells also help in support in the functioning of the neuron cells. So we have taken a fast recap about the neuron as well as about the neuroglial cells. So next slide I would like to share with you, that is about the synapse. Now we are going to study about the synapse. First we should know the definition of synapse. A synapse, it is the junction region between the two cells. It is the junction region between the two cells which may or may not be a neuron, which may or may not be neuron, but those who are carrying the impulse first, that is a presynaptic, that will be the neuron, and another may not be the neuron. So we'll see the first point. The presynaptic cell is a generally neuron. Whatever the first cell which is going to carry the impulse, that is all the time neuron, and another the post who is going to receive the impulse, that may neuron or may not be a neuron. Postsynaptic may be a neuron or muscle cell or glands. So the point is clear to you. Now synapse, there are the two types of synapse, that is the chemical synapse, and another one is the electrical synapse, that is another one is the electrical synapse. So short preview about the chemical synapse. In chemical synapse there is a gap about 20 to 30 nm nanometer. In the presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron, the end point, that there is a gap, and that gap is about 20 to 30 nanometer. So known as a synaptic cleft, that is called as a known as a synaptic cleft, and this synaptic cleft filled with a neurotransmitter, and this neurotransmitter is called as a acetylcholine and adrenaline. As in this synaptic cleft, there is a firstly there is having the presence of interstitial fluid. There is a presence of interstitial fluid, and when the neuron is going to carry the impulse, at that time when the exocytosis of this synaptic vessels take place, at that time neurotransmitter will be released in this synaptic cleft. So point to be clear, between the synaptic cleft, which fluid is present, that is interstitial fluid or ECF. ECF means what? Extracellular fluid. Point is to be cleared. Now we'll see the electrical impulse or synapse. Now we are going to see electrical synapse. In electrical synapse, gap between the two neuron very narrow. The gap between the two neurons, they are very narrow to each other, and the synapse between such a neuron is a mechanical, that is a mechanical type, and the gap between the two is about 3.8 nanometer. It is a very narrow gap between the two neuron, that is 3.8 nanometer. Pre and post physical attachment, the presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron, that show the physical attachment. So there is no need to secretion of chemical or neurotransmitter in this electrical synapse. They jump from one another because physically they are very close to each other. So some properties about the synapse, we are going to see this, some properties about the synapse. First, properties about nerve fibers. Properties of nerve fibers, and first property means a nerve fiber or neuron. We have to see the what we have just discussed in the last lecture, that neuron show the excitability and conductivity. Neuron show the excitability, but when the neuron shows or nerve fiber shows the excitability or irritability, the nerve fibers, on account of pressure, on account of presence of a polarized membrane, on account of presence of polarized membrane. Polarized means the neuron in the stable condition or resting stage at the polarized membrane have the ability to pursue the stimulus. When the neuron is polarized, the membrane is polarized, at that time it is having the ability to pursue the stimulus and enter into the state of activity. That is called as a excitability, that is shown by the neuron. Another, that is a conductivity. Whatever the impulse that is generated by the stimulation given by the external or internal environment, that impulse has to be conducted by the nerve fiber, that is called as a conductivity. That is called as a conductivity. It has an ability to transmit the impulse or excitation. It is having the ability to transmit the impulse or excitation. Another point we have taken some, that is a stimulus. Now that is a point, that is a stimulus. First of all, you should know that what is meant by stimulus. Stimulus is nothing but, that is a change in the external or internal environment that will create a stimulus. So it is any detectable physical, chemical, electrical changes in the external or internal environment, that is called as a stimulus. That is called as a stimulus. Again, this stimulus has been divided into three types. This stimulus has been divided into three types. That is a threshold stimulus. That is the first one. This is a threshold stimulus. You may say that minimum intensity. Threshold shows a minimum intensity. Second one is the subliminal stimulus. That is a weak stimulus. And last one is the supraliminal stimulus. That is a strong stimulus. And first, that the stimulus must have minimum intensity. The stimulus, whatever the stimulus that is generated, that should have the minimum intensity, that is called as a threshold stimulus. That should have the minimum stimulus that will produce an impulse, that can produce a impulse, that is called as a threshold stimulus. Subliminal stimulus, that is already weak stimulus with have no effect, with have a no effect, that is called as a subliminal. And another one, that is a supraliminal stimulus, that is a strong one, will produce a same degree of impulse as the threshold stimulus. Supraliminal means strong stimulus, as similar to the threshold stimulus, that is similar to the threshold stimulus. Will end here only. We'll see the next point, this now summation effect, all or none law, refractory period, synaptic delay, in the next lecture. Thank you.